Jai Hind, everyone.
Jai Jinendra.
Okay, I hope I'm audible. Yes.
Yes, yes, Anuj.
Should we start?
Hanji. Yes,
Okay,
I've made you the
I'll
co-host.
start with my legend.
Yes.
Namo Arhantar,
Yes, yes.
Namo Siddharam, Namo Ayariyaram,
Hanji. Yes, I've
Namo
made you the co-host.
Uvajrayaram, Namo Loy Savsaram,
Yes, yes.
Namo Siddharam, Namo Anviro Mangalam Gautam Kundakundaram Janadharmostu Mangalam Sarvamangalyamangalyam Sarvakalyanakarakam Pradhanam Chainam Jayatu Shasanam Chainam Jayatu Shasanam मोक्षमार्गस्य नेतारं भेक्तारं कर्मभूभृतां ज्ञातारं विश्वतत्त्वानां वन्दे तद्गुणलब्धये वन्दे तद्गुणलब्धये वन्दे तद्गुणलब्धये. So, we all started our philosophical journey in which we are all trying to make our own perspectives about the life that we all are living, right? तो हम सभी हमारी लाइफ के डे टू डे जो हमारे पास कॉन्ट्रडिक्शंस क्वेश्चंस challenges आते हैं, how do we resolve them? What answers do we have of those questions which even our hearts keep asking us? So we are trying to address those questions, the question of origin, the question of death, the question of truth, the question of happiness, the question of purpose, the question of what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad, the question of morality. These are the questions that which everybody is struggling with. Everybody has to find answers to these questions, and everybody's answers are very different from one another. And therefore, we're trying to find out a way, is there a way in which we can be assured that, okay, the answer which we have is the most convincing one? So we went about the entire globe and we asked everybody, different school of philosophies, the same questions, and everybody had a different answer. But there was one particular thing, one peculiar thing about Jainism was that it did not have one answer. It had a simple question that from where are you asking? Where are you standing while you're asking this question? So every other religious philosophy becomes a philosophy which follows only single point of view. We call it ekanta, and the Jain philosophy becomes the Anekanta philosophy, where we do not have one final answer to any question. We have, based on where we are standing and which glasses we have put on, we answer accordingly. So, Anekanta Darshan is what the Jainism becomes so different from all other philosophies because of this tag of being Anikant Darshan. So now, before we start our journey into Jainism, first let's also, because we are having philosophical discussions, right? So how does a philosophy, how do we make anything philosophical? So we have three main branches of philosophy, which, because we are talking about philosophy, we're talking about the philosophy of our lives, trying to make own understandings. So why should we not take it in the structured way in which, generally the philosophy classes go by? So every philosophy is addressing the same question. And for the matter of fact, even the science is addressing the same questions. Science is also curious about our origins. Science is also curious about how we can make the lives better. And, can we rule out death? Can we solve the mystery of space and time? So all these questions are also being tackled by science. So everybody, so it's a problem of life. Rather than calling it a problem of philosophy or problem of science, we call it a problem of life, which we all have. आप और हम सब जिंदा हैं, सब जी रहे हैं, हम सबको भूख लगती है, नींद आती है, थक जाते हैं, सपने आते हैं. So most of the things about our lives we don't know. We know what we like, we do not know why we like what we like. We know that okay, what makes me happy, but we do not always know a way to ensure that will I have those things which make me happy at all times with me. I know what I enjoy, I know what mood fits me in. I know that. But do I have means to ensure that, my good mood sustains forever? Right? So we all are dealing with the problem of life, which is the problem of uncertainty, problem of fragility. It's too fragile, too soft, the life in itself, and too uncertain. You cannot be sure of anything. Yes, everybody. So हम लोग बहुत वल्नरेबल हैं, हमारी जो लाइफ है वो बड़ी नाजुक है, कभी भी कुछ भी हो जाता है. एनीथिंग, वी डू नॉट नीड सम बिग रीजंस टू बी अनहैप्पी. किसी ने थैंक यू बोलने के बाद यूर वेलकम नहीं बोला है, कई बार हम इसी बात पर अपसेट हो जाते हैं. हमें नाराज होने के लिए कोई बड़े रीजंस नहीं लगते हैं. एनीथिंग कैन मेक अस गो मैड. It's just that our mood should not be there on that very day. Correct? So we all are dealing with the problem of life, and therefore we all are addressing the questions of life. So everybody from their own capabilities is trying to answer these questions. Science has some sophisticated laboratories. They have some high level thinking, the mathematics, instruments, and they have some wild calculations. So they take the path of physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And that's how they address these problems. Philosophers, on the other hand, they like to entertain thoughts more. So they do not have sophisticated laboratories because they're saying that we're not dealing with machine. We're dealing with the emotions. We're dealing with the problem of thought, problem of consciousness. So we do not need a concrete walled laboratory per se. I do not need high-end sophisticated laboratory instruments. What I need right now is clarity of thought. So a philosopher will read a lot, will think a lot, will engage in debates a lot. So they will have theories, they will have their predictions. A science person would write a research paper, they'll have some case studies, they'll be experimenting on people, they'll be having hypotheses which they'll be willing to prove. So these both people have different ways to answer the same problem. They are not one against other. Generally, it is said that religion versus science. Philosophy says this, science says this. यहाँ कोई लड़ाई नहीं है. We are not in a tug of war that science has to win or the philosophy has to win. Religious philosophies have to win or scientific philosophies have to win. No, मैं भी उसी प्रॉब्लम से परेशान हूँ that I have zero clue about my life. I know what is happening around me. I don't know why it is happening with me. Yes, science is also trying to address this problem. So we all are after the same questions. Fine, everybody. So now, three questions. There will be three branches of philosophy when we are having no laboratories and only our mind as our chambers where all the experiments take place. We need to address these three things. So, philosophy broadly answers these three things. Okay? The three branches of philosophy. We are saying that we are going to be very liberal, we're going to be very tolerant. We'll be not being will not be being very rigid towards our own opinions and our own thoughts because we'll not have any hard thoughts. We'll always be looking from the perspective to the perspective from which it is being spoken. That's true. That's Anikan. But every philosophy will have to answer these three things. What are those three things? The philosophy has three branches. The first branch is of metaphysics. You'll have to explain what all is out there. First branch of philosophy is what? The first question which philosophy answers. Every philosophy will have their own metaphysics. हर एक philosophy को, every school of thought will have to explain their version of this world. So first thing is about metaphysics. हम लोगों ने आपने देखा होगा, we have तीन लोग का we have diagram everywhere. So we make a figure like this. If you guys have seen, you have seen like a figure like this. Yes, everybody. I hope you have seen a figure like this. What is this? This is Jain metaphysics. हम इसको तीन लोग बोलते हैं. We call it three worlds. We have Urdhvalok, Madhyalok, Adholok. Right now, Ashtanika Parv is going on. So Devgati, Devas are somewhere in this Trasnadi. Here in this Madhyalok, there is eighth Dvipa, which is called Nandishwar Dvipa, where the Devas are going for 8 days to do puja of 52 Akritin Jin Chaityalyas. Now, this is very sophisticated. I am saying that, okay, we have 7 continents. We have Australia, we have US, we have Asia. So we have a different geography which we learn about in our schools. But then when you read the Jain text and we're celebrating Ashtanika Parva, what is it saying that, okay, we have three worlds. In the central part of this Madhyalok, we have Manushya Lok. In this Dhai Dweep is Manushya Lok. The eighth Dweep is called Nandishwar Dweep, where there are 52 Jin Chaityalayas. So now, how am I to believe this? So I will believe it because it is the metaphysics mentioned by the Jain philosophy. If I'm reading about a Hindu text, they will have a different description. They will say, okay, this whole world is actually situated on the back of a huge tortoise. There is a great turtle on whose back this whole earth rests. That's maybe that is one of their versions. Others will have a different type of story. So everybody will be talking about the metaphysics. Metaphysics means what this world looks like, how things happen, from where do we come, where do we go to. All these questions are addressed in this first branch of philosophy, which we call metaphysics. Yes? First thing you have to address is what is there. So when you have answered what is there, the second question would obviously be, how do you know what is there? How you told me that there are three worlds, but how do I believe you? मैं आपको आपकी बात कैसे मानूं? आपको कैसे पता? Dhruv, if you come to me running from a garden and you start saying that, okay, Anubhavji, you know what? The sky is falling down. What will I ask? I'll say, okay, everybody run for your lives, save yourselves. Sky is falling. Should I do this? Or should I first confirm? Dhruv, what are you saying? Can you repeat it again? I didn't get you. Sky is falling. What do you mean? Right? So you have explained your version that sky is falling. That's your metaphysics. But my question would be, how do you know what you know so that I can believe you? So you have to also prove that the knowledge which you have is coming from the authentic sources. Either you have personally seen it happening, then I'll have to check whether you are of sound mind or not. If you are, then I'll run with you to save myself. Or somebody worthy of being trusted has told you. There are only two ways. So the second branch of philosophy is about epistemology. It's about Gyan. How do we know what we know? So how the process of knowing happened? So what you said in metaphysics, you have to tell us that, okay, you have said n number of things. Now tell me, why do we believe you? How did you come to, what is the evidence? Where is your laboratory? Where is your research paper? Where are all these conclusions coming from? So the second branch will talk about Gyan, that how this knowledge, which has been told about in metaphysics description, how or and from where is it coming? Understood? The first branch is what? Metaphysics. Metaphysics is what? Where we are learning all about, there are four gatis, there are 84 lakhs of yonis, there are 14 gunisthans, there are five sensed organisms, four sensed organisms, three sensed organisms, thavar, tresas, arihantas, sansaris, muktas. all sorts of these things. What all is there in this world? When I'm answering that question, when it is answered, is called the metaphysics of that philosophy. Every religion will have their own version of their world. Yes, yes, Dhruv, say.
Uh, I just want to ask that you told that philosophers use their prediction, like they also use their prediction to predict. So in this, like in the epistemology, in that do they use prediction as the evidence to support the like the statement they have given?
See, a philosophy is just like a piece of paper which is there lying on your study table. You read it. You read it, and if the author is able to convince you that whatever is written can be trusted, then you begin to follow that philosophy. So, in order to convince you, Dhruv, in order to convince you, they will first say that these are the things. And then they will tell you that how did they come to know about these things? So, how did knowledge happen? Okay. If a kindergarten kid tells me that you know what is the capital of let's say Australia, you know what? So if that kid is telling me, it's better that I reconfirm. Well, he is confident. He has told me the right answer. But does that 5-year-old, 4-year-old kid any authority for which he can be trusted? It might be that his teacher is wrong. From where he is learning, his source can be wrong. Correct? So how did he come? So I'll have to ask him. See, you're telling me that this is the capital of this country. How did you come to know? And then he says that, okay, I read this book in the library which had all the capitals of all the countries. Then, okay, fine, I can check it. If that is true, then I'll say, yeah, you were right. So how did you come to know? So for him, the source was an encyclopedia, a book from library for him. So the epistemology, how did he come to know about it? By reading the book. But then who wrote that book?
Atha.
The person who wrote that book. Is he right? Correct. So it will keep on going now. What if there is a misprint? What if the capital of India is misprinted? So like they have exchanged from one country's capital to another country. There was a problem of sequence. What is it was a misprint? What will you do? So you cannot take it for granted that okay, he said it and he cannot be wrong. So for that, if I am, because I'm dealing with my belief, and my belief is the most important thing to me. So I do not want to take any chances. I do not want to be cheated. I do not want to be fooled. So I'm asking, fine, it looks very fancy, very good, very attractive, the world order that you've explained. Can you just also quickly catch me up with this? Like, how did you come to know about it? So that second part will be in convincing you that what first part has been told about, that has been derived from this order, from this process, and this is why it can be believed about. Yes, so epistemology is about knowledge.
Yes.
Correct, everybody? Fine. Like you said that earth is flat and some people say earth is round and some people say earth is flat. So yeah, it's their difference of metaphysics. So this is what metaphysics is trying to answer. So for different people, different philosophies will always have difference of opinion in their metaphysics, and then to prove their theories. So if you go to any, to go Google, and if you search about the flat earth society, and if you read their logics, so the epistemology they are using is quite different. So they will have different logics like, okay, why satellites are going like this and not like this. And they'll use different things. They'll say, okay, fine, anything that goes farther away from here, it starts shrinking. And it looks like that, the earth is actually round, but it is not. Like the two tracks of the rail, they are actually uh they are parallel to each other, but when you see from your naked eyes, you see that they are converging, they're meeting at some point. So are they meeting? They are not meeting. Similarly, from when you zoom out, it looks like that Earth is round, but when you follow the route, the Earth remains the same. It's not round. That's what they will say. It's their epistemology. It's their thinking process. The science say that, okay, our maths add up. What more proofs do you need? We have everything working. We have sent out the rockets. We are doing all the calculation. We are throwing all the satellites up in the universe using this maths. How can you say that it is not round? So these both are dealing with their own metaphysics, and their metaphysics is being backed up by their epistemologies. Yes, everybody? Simple? Okay, so first question would be that how the world is according to you. And the moment you finish answering that, I will ask, okay, how do you know what you know? How did you tell me all that? Tell me about it. So that will be epistemology. How did you come to know about it? And the third thing, when you have set this stage, that you have told me that this is what world is about, these are the answers to all your questions, and this is how I have come to know about these things. Then the third and the last question which I'll ask, okay, fine. I know this world order is. I know that what you have told me looks quite convincing, and I'm convinced. But now quickly tell me, so what should I do? So now you want charter, you want some simple process rules. Like you would want that, okay, I'll go by this. Tell me what is wrong, what is right. You do not leave it on me. I do not have a good inner discipline. You just give me key pointers at how to behave and how to not behave. What is the right thing to do and what is the sin that I must not do. So we are asking in the third branch of philosophy, we're asking about ethics. We're asking about what in this philosophy is a sin, what in this philosophy is not a sin. So for some people, like the philosophy, or like when we see in Abrahamic traditions also, to drink is a great sin. If you're following Islam, if you're following similar traditions which are believing in one Almighty, right? So if you drink, it's a great sin. But then if you follow Jesus Christ, they will give uh, alcohol to you even in churches. So for them, it's not sin to drink. The sin, one thing. For one tradition, it's a great sin if you kill a cow. For others' tradition, it is actually a religious ceremony if you sacrifice it. You're seeing the difference of ethics? What can be a grave sin in my philosophy, it can be actually a right thing to do, or rather a pious thing to do, or rather the upright thing to do in your tradition. So the ethics will differ based on the differences of metaphysics. So if I do not have the philosophy of karma, I will not much be bothered about violence or my bad conduct. Why? Because the metaphysics does not support a place where I'll have to be punished. So my ethics will differ. My ethics will be not will not be that stringent because my metaphysics is not allowing me to be stringent. So why are we so particular about five types of pa? हिंसा मत करो, झूठ मत बोलो, चोरी मत करो, कुशील मत करो, परिग्रह मत करो. Why are we told this in the Balbodh itself? The very first class we take, we are always told about five sins. We're told about seven addictions, saptavyasan, right? Why? Because our metaphysics has two very important things. You can see human beings, you can see animals, this everybody can see. But our metaphysics also have two different branches of being, states of being. One is Naraka, one is Swarga, right? So, because our metaphysics has seven hells down just beneath this Madhyalok, and we have different types of Swarga just above us. So, because we have places where I can go, then we also have provisions by which I can go to Narak or by which I can go to Swarg. So therefore, we'll have to learn about five sins. We'll have to learn about seven addictions, by which, if you do them religiously, welcome to hell. You'll go to Narak. If you leave them and you live a very upright, morally correct life, you go to Swarga, you go to heaven. So, because our metaphysics had these two places, therefore, our ethics also had these stringent policies. So, metaphysics is the most important part of a philosophy, and then metaphysics will be only must only be believed if the information which we are garnering for to ensure that this is our metaphysics, it is correct. So the epistemology is set. Epistemology is the clue, is it's the center of that weighing machine which is telling us that okay, this can be believed. And if you believe in this metaphysics, then your ethics automatically set. Okay, I'll give one example for this. Okay, so I have, let me see, I have this piece of glass. Okay, you see this piece of glass? So this glass, it has its own metaphysics, correct? So as long as it is intact, it is in its own shape, it has good fine texture, I will use it as a I'll use it as an artifact, maybe to as a paperweight, maybe as a for different things I can use it. The same thing for different reasons I can use for different things, correct? But the moment it slips off from my hands and it falls on the ground, correct, it gets broken, and now I have small different parts of the same glass, correct? Now will there be any difference of my behavior as soon as it falls on the ground? As long as it was there on the table, as long as it was there on my paper book, I was okay. But the moment it fell down on the ground, will something change? Will something change? What will change? Aina? Yes, Kahan, what will change?
The glass will no longer be on the table. It'll break and be on the ground.
I'm asking, will my behavior change because of
No,
this glass being
It
shattered and it is all over the ground? Will it change my behavior, Kahan? Will
I
it
don't
change
think
my
so.
conduct? Will
I,
it change
it'll
the
be
way
more.
I walk? Will I change the way I walk?
No,
Okay, Viranshi,
There will be no change in conduct, but yet you will be a bit angry or irritated because the glass broke and you won't use it as a paperweight anymore.
okay. Yes, Redan, what are you saying?
so we'll change the way how we walk. So we will be very careful and not try to not walk on the
Why,
glass
why, why will be careful? Why will be careful?
because we can get hurt if we step on glass.
If my handkerchief, okay, if this piece of cloth, if it falls down on the ground, it fell down, okay, will I change the way I walk? Will I be cautious? Will I be alarmed? No, I just pick it up. It's okay. But if this thing falls on the ground, it changes everything. First thing that it will not come back to my table. It is going to the bin. But unless it goes to the bin, it is there on the ground. I will think 100 times before putting my feet down. Yes? Why? Why? Because it is a physics that it grows, it when it breaks itself into very small, sharp, tiny pieces. And those pieces pierce to your skin directly. And then you put yourself in the danger of getting, you may bleed yourself. Yes. So now, because I know how delicate this glass is, my conduct, my ethics around this glass are very different. So if in my one hand I have this glass, and if on other hand I have this cloth, what should I focus more on? Of which object am I more worried about? Of glass. Why?
Yes.
Because it has different metaphysics. Because of the difference in its physics, it directly guides my conduct. It directly guides my ethics. So I will behave with this glass differently because how it functions, and I'll behave with this book differently because how its physics is, and I'll behave with this differently because of how its physics is. Understanding, everybody? Correct. So ethics are direct derivation of the metaphysics we have. Yes, everyone. Yes. Ethics are nothing. How you describe the world order, the world structure, according to your beliefs. If you follow that structure, then your ethics are already formed around that metaphysics. Everybody understood? Okay? If we say that, if it falls down, it will cry and it will get hurt. So before I knew that it was a jiva, I was only worried about, like you mentioned, that I'll be hurt, that my paperweight is broken. I would be hurt for my paperweight. But the moment it's not a paperweight, it's a small insect which fell down from that floor to the ground. And now it is in a terrible state. It is screaming in pain. Now I do not feel that, okay, that person, your pain is not personal. Your pain is because that person or that animal is in pain. Because of that physics, because it could feel pain, your perspective changed in a different way. So when your fell and it got broken, you were worried about your legs. But when somebody fell down on the road and broke their legs, you directly take out your phone and you call ambulance. You do not do that with glass. Nobody calls an ambulance for a glass, right? But for a being, because their metaphysics is different. So your conduct for them just changes. Correct? So, how we behave automatically displays what we believe. समझ आया देखो, it's a two-way process now again. What I believe the world is shapes my conduct. ठीक है? तो मेरे को लगता है कि oh, ground is so green, I should play, such beautiful ground it is. So we enjoy, we see the lush green playgrounds, we want to play. But then we went to Pathshala and we learned that, okay, even the grass is one-sensed organisms and we should avoid walking on it. Unless it is very important, we should walk over it. You came to know about it. You were very fascinated with gardening. You had all those equipments to cut down the leaves, give your plants the shape, pick the flowers, cut the old ones. You were you were actually enthusiast. You were a nature enthusiast. You wanted to do great gardening in your house. You wanted to decorate it. So you thought that it's a good thing to do because you thought the planters are what? They are just increasing the aesthetics of our house. They look good and the house looks good because of them. So that was your metaphysics. So you were, with great interest, giving all the planters the shapes you wanted to give. Suddenly now somebody tells you that, even the plants, they feel hurt when you cut them down. So for your own aesthetic sense, you're actually cutting the plants down. And suddenly you realize, oh, this is such a mean thing to do. And now every time you walk on the grass, that thought clicks that, oh, the grass is actually one-sensed organisms. And then you try to avoid walking over it. This conduct, this shift in conduct, how is it happening? How is it happening? Because of your metaphysics, what you believe. You believe that it is grass and greenery is good and the garden is beautiful and we'll not hurt ourselves while we'll be playing on this lush green ground. You were so happy walking on that grass. You said it's a therapy. The moment somebody told you, no, it can be one sensed organism, and not just one sensed organism, it's grass. Under it, so many two-sensed, three-sensed, four-sensed organisms also live. Now, whenever you walk over the glass because you have a game to play, if you have a competition to participate in, you have to do what you have to do. But if not from outside, a certain seed is planted within you, which makes you cautious, which makes you aware about it. So you choose that, okay, I should be here on this ground, but for the least amount of time, as long as I can avoid, I will avoid it. See, it changed your conduct. So your ethics are developing in direct proportion to your information about the metaphysics. Understood, everybody? Yes. In certain traditions, it is great thing. So, is it okay to kill somebody to save your religion? They are the direct threat to your religion. So, should you kill them and save the religion? In certain traditions, it's actually a duty. You must do it. And then we hear these stories of Anansara, forget about religion. She is half body under the stomach of a great snake, right? Python. And her dad, who is a Chakravarti, he has taken the aim on that snake and he's ready to kill it. And Anansara is saying, please forgive this snake. Even if you save me, I'm not going to be eternal. So you do not kill it to save me. So at one stance, the ethical standards are so high that we are willing to give up our bodies to save the fellow being. In other traditions, the stakes are so low that to save yourself, you're having different bodies boiled up on your eating plate and you're eating them and enjoying the feast. It is all about how your metaphysics is worded. So the ethics are the direct functions of how the world is explained in your philosophy. So if you believe in a repeat birth and death cycle, then you will have more stringent ethical norms in your philosophy. If you do not believe in that, you say that, okay, we only live once, then you'll have a very mild ethical standards that, okay, you enjoy your life, just ensure that, others are not in trouble. That's it. So if my metaphysics says that on the day of Diwali, Lord Ram came from Lanka to Ayodhya and everybody lit their homes with light and lamps. So this is my metaphysics. And now my ethical standards are that I'm going to put the whole city under great risk by firing all the firecrackers entire night. And now it is a great way to celebrate the coming of Ram Bhagwan. Now the ethics are leading. It is not an ethical thing to put yourself in direct contact with fire, to actually sabotage the entire environment of your city, to pollute. It's not ethically right. But because your metaphysics says so, it becomes a tradition. It becomes the right thing to do. The ethics change with the change in stories. Yes, everyone. About, I would say it's about 10 years back, there was Panch Kalyanak of Parlachin Mandir in Mumbai. Okay. Vile Parle mein there is a beautiful mandir. And there was Panch Kalyanak about 10 years ago. Yeah. I think it was the day of Janma Kalyanak. I was returning from the venue. I was going towards the station. Um, and you know what? There was this wall, footpath, and this wall. And on that wall, there was one chameleon. What do you call it? Girgit. What do we call it? Chameleon, right? Yes. The big lizard which changes color. Yeah. So it was there. Okay, fine. And there was this one person who was just, normally walking on that side of the road. I was on this side of the road. And he stopped. And he stopped and he started looking at that insect, okay, the chameleon. And I was like, okay, fine. Oh, I was just walking by, so I was quite at distance. I was walking by and he just looked at. And then suddenly, I don't know what happened. He picked up a stone. He picked up a stone and he started taking aim towards that big lizard. Okay. And the moment I could even comprehend what is going to happen, he threw it over that lizard and he killed it. Why it happened, you know what? Because in certain Mohammedan traditions, it is said the whole war between Shias and Sunnis, it is whole said that, when the oppressor asked about the location of the Muhammad, there was one chameleon. And chameleon's neck, it always does like this. So when they asked him about the direction, in which direction did their guru go, did their prophet go, the chameleon at that very moment nodded. Not because it was answering, because it does it. It's metaphysics. It does it. So it nodded, and that's how they went to that prophet, and they killed him. Since that very day, most Muslims, whenever they see a chameleon or a lizard, they directly kill it. They consider them very unfortunate. Now you see how that one belief is getting translated to ethics. You getting it? How deeply it is ingrained. These things, when we listen to these things, we just, you know, we sometimes find them unbelievable that, oh, is it happening even after 1500, 1600 years of his passing away? Is it still happening? But the rage, the hatred, it's so intense that it's not, you can read about it. So when they consider in certain Hindu traditions, though on the day of Nag Panchami, everybody invites snakes to their houses in Hindu traditions and make them feed some milk. Nag Panchami is the festival of snakes. But in certain uh, Hindu festivals, it is also mentioned that okay, if you see a snake, the snake can never be trusted. So they see it, then they kill it. It is to be killed if it is seen. So these ethics, you derive them from the very metaphysics which you choose to make your philosophy. Therefore, these three branches are very much interconnected, interlinked. So every philosophy that you will be reading about, you will be dealing with these three questions. First question would be, according to you, how the world functions. We'll call it metaphysics. Okay? The second question would be, how do you know what you know? We'll call it epistemology. And once I'm convinced that, okay, this is what it is, and this is how I know that I should believe this, then the third thing which you develop is charter, how to do things, ethics. Everybody, I'm hoping that it is not very difficult. It's simple, right? But these names we have to remember. So every philosophy will deal with these three questions. The first question will be of what all is there? Tell me. Second question will be of how do you know what you know? And the third question is when I know and when I believe, then what should I do? Correct? In Jain philosophy, we also start our religion with these three same questions. The first sutra of Shri Tattvar Sutra Granth, Samyak Darshan, Gyan, Charitrani, Moksh Margah. Metaphysics tells you that what all is there. This is what darshan is all about. To core belief. Gyan is how you reach to that belief. What we know, how we know it. And when our gyan and darshan are in sync, they give birth to ethics, to the code of conduct, to the path which we choose to walk on. So, what you'll be reading in your philosophy classes in your universities, whenever you'll be signing up for a philosophy course, you'll be reading these sophisticated names. Our acharyas were very grounded, they were very genuine people. They used not in very technical, philosophical, sophisticated languages. They did not believe in jargons. They said simple things. What you believe is the first branch of philosophy. How did you arrive at that belief? How you know and believe this much? Does it reflect in your character? Does it reflect in your behavior? Does it reflect in your conduct? That is charitra, what you choose to do after knowing what is happening and how it is happening. Understood, everybody? Everybody, everybody. Yes, three things. Last class, we learned about the single most important word of the whole, all the schools of philosophy, and that word is called pluralism, or we call it anikantavad. Everybody's, everybody, like Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan in his book, he has written, or even the Albert Einstein have quoted the Jainism for its anikantvad. Yeah, and the theory of relativity and how all things in quantum mechanics are being explained now. One at one time, there are multiplicity of different happenings which are possible if you just change the angle, right? So the single most important word in the whole arena of philosophy is anekantvad. Do not be sticky about your own beliefs. Be open to all different viewpoints which are possible. Now, after Anikantvad, how Jain philosophy is going to tackle this problem of life. So, our acharyas synthesized it and they have done it in such beautiful, simple terms. He said, okay, we'll be defining the soul by three attributes, and those three attributes are enough to get onto this journey and to complete this journey successfully. What are those three words? In sophisticated languages, we would say that what is the metaphysics? How do you know about what you know? What is your epistemology? What are your ethics? Acharya Uma Swami Dev says simply, Samyak Darshan, Gyan Charitrani Moksha. Right belief leads to the metaphysics in which all the metaphysics is discussed. How do we arrive at that metaphysics is the right knowledge, Samyak Gyan. And after realizing that, okay, this is the right way of the world order, and this is how I know that I'm right, then charitra of ahimsa, charitra of truth, charitra of contentment, all these things starts taking birth the moment our darshan and gyan are in tandem. Understood, everybody? Fine. So the first chapters in philosophy is knowing about what philosophy is trying to answer. Same thing is being answered by science. Yes, science will tell you first how the body functions. Then they will tell you what sugar does. And then they will tell you, okay, limit the use of sugar. They will tell you how oil works in your body. They will say what it does to your cholesterol levels. And then they will tell you, okay, control your oil intake. So it's the first is darshan, physiology, they will explain. Then they'll see the reports. These are the empirical evidences which we have. This is how we have done in our scans. That is their epistemology, which makes their reports worthy of being trusted. And once that is sorted, then they will write in what to do. Okay, you limit your sugar intake. You start going to your gym, you have more of salads, less of hard food. So all these ethics are being developed after they have sorted your metaphysics and they have convinced you that, okay, you have to believe in these reports. Your body is signaling these things, and therefore you have to change your ethical standards. How you eat, how you walk, how you sleep, that needs to be altered because this is what metaphysics and epistemology together are saying, right? So if we have these three things sorted, we are already philosophers of our lives. So we'll be willing to answer these questions. So our first question will start from addressing the question of metaphysics. Fine. So in the next session, we'll tackle the first question, the question of origin and question of death. We'll try to sort what metaphysics is it which we are going to believe in. Then gradually we'll move that, okay, whatever we have said, how do we know that it is the right thing? That's where the Anekantvad will help us a lot in convincing us in the type of world order which Mahavir Bhagwan gave us. And if both these things are sorted, then I don't think that anybody will be required here to tell you what to do, what not to do. You will be deciding your own ethics in your entire life. There will be no moral policing then. You'll know what to know. I'll not have to tell you if the glass is there on the ground that you should wear your chappals and shoes. You will decide. You if you'll not decide today, you might hurt yourself. Next time you'll be wearing it. There is no point teaching you about it. That when there is broken glass on the floor, you should be careful. So ethics are not to be taught. Nobody likes moral policing. Ethics are not to be taught. You must increase your wisdom to know that what is right thing to do and what is wrong thing to do. So we'll be not talking much about ethics. Ethics will be derivative. They will be the visible change which your heart will tell you to follow and which we all will follow. But our focus will be on darshan and gyan. If we sort these two, the charitra takes care of itself, right? I tell you 100 times that, have less of cookies, do not have ice creams, do not eat sugar candies. You will not listen. But one day you feel uneasy, you go see a doctor, he takes out your blood, he puts in machine, he gives you a report, oh, you're diabetic. Now, I'll not convince you to not have sugar. You yourself will say, do you want to kill me? Why are you giving me three cookies? You will then tell me to not give you, right? Because now I have not taught you the ethical values because you believed that, okay, now doctor can be believed and it's in borderline. So it's high time that I change my character, I change my conduct. So the ethics are not to be told. Yes, Adhish, what do you want to say?
Nothing. Sorry.
Yes.
Nothing.
No, no.
I was.
So, you have a question about it?
No.
No, sure. Okay. So, if we know that our darshan and gyan are in tandem, metaphysics and epistemology is sorted, ethics will take care of themselves. Okay. Any questions anybody has from today's session? We'll stop here. It's time for question answers. I hope you have taken down the notes. Three names. If you'll now Google it or ask ChatGPT about it, you will actually find it interesting. You just ask this ChatGPT about this question that how the three branches of philosophy aligns with the concept of darshan and charitra in Jainism. Some sort of questions you can do some your own, questioning with in order to learn more about. So when you enroll to a course of philosophy in colleges, this is what we all learn about it. So every philosophy is asked basically three questions. What is a metaphysics? How do you know what you know? And what are the ethical standards that you follow? So if we know about these three things, we know about all philosophies. Okay? Fine. Any questions? Okay, so I'll stop here. If you have anything, you can ask, you can think, you can ask in the next session before we start discussion. Okay?
Anubhavji, I have a question if no one else has. This
Yes,
is from
please.
a
Please.
parent.
Yeah.
What is the need for studying this philosophy? The question was, why aren't we studying a Granth straight away? Which Granth are you referring to? Why should we study philosophy before?
See, reading from a Granth is kind of, spoon feeding yourself. And our acharyas are not of the intent that, we become dependable on the text. The first thing is that we should also know what the problem is and what is it our problem? Does it become my problem? If it becomes my problem, then I approach the scriptures, I approach the text, I approach the gurus. But when I do not have a problem only, then and I start preaching you about Grantha, then you will learn it as a subject, but you will never get it, you will not benefit personally out of it. So it will be there in your memory, right? So what we're trying to do in first few sessions is first at least let address the problem, whether these questions are ours or not. And because we are doing it in a way how in world generally philosophy in philosophy classes it happens, so that you all children, all these students who you can relate to it. Like this is what the world is already thinking, and this is what is included. Like entire philosophy course is one sutra of Tattva Sutra. It's a big thing. So it motivates me to go and learn about Jain metaphysics from Tattva Sutra. So we'll be doing, we'll be relating the topics from, we'll be taking excerpts from these scriptures. But because we are beginning on this journey and hopping on this small journey, first let's have a platform where we all are on the same page. Yes?
Very
Okay.
nice. Very nice. I think to diagnose that there is a problem, the study of philosophy is essential, right?
Yes. Yes.
I think Ruhiji is saying something. Ruhiji, would you like to add something? No.
No, all good.
All right. Excellent.
Good.
All right. I think there's no other questions. And Anubhavji, we have students who are taking keynotes, so they will be posted on the group as well, which is really good for
Wow.
every session.
Wow.
So those who've missed joining, they can listen to the recording and also read the keynotes, which is brilliant, I think.
Good.
Sure.
Great. Good. ठीक है.
Shirvani Stuti.
ठीक है. चलिए. In the next class, we'll have
Thank you.
discussions on the realities, two reality it will become, because we have epistemology and we have metaphysics. So the reality gets converted into two different ways. One is objective reality, the other becomes subjective reality. So a very interesting discussion is awaiting all of us about reality and how we see the world and how to believe it, whether it exists for real or not. So yeah, I'll be waiting for your participation in this. ठीक है.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Soham, would you like to do the Jinvani Stuti? I know last time you were waiting.
निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है। इसके लिए जिन वाणी को वंदना शत बार है, वंदना शत बार है, वंदना शत बार है।
9 times Namokar Mantra. Jai Jinen Sabhi ko. Thank you so much.
जय जिनेंद्र।
Wonderful
Jai
session.
Jinendra.